Alrighty. Hello, everybody. How y'all doing today? Welcome to the Hollywood Morgue. It's been a while. I think my last episode was in December. So this is the first episode for season 3. And today I have a special guest with me. We're going to talk about new reboots of TV shows and how they're going to ruin them for years to come. The new Fresh Prince of Bel-Air came out, and we decided to talk about that and other ones that we would like to see reboots of. And like I said, a special guest with me today. That's Brandon. Hello. Ooh, there you are. Brandon, how you doing?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm doing all right. Doing good. Doing good. This damn weather's been kicking my ass because I don't know how it is in Arkansas, but the weather here in Kentucky, it's pretty. It's like cold and then hot. Like today, it's nice and beautiful, but this weather's been kicking my ass, so that's just been pain. How about you?
It's the same thing here, man. It's not much different,
Right.
especially
So
with the
yeah.
terrain and the way this shit goes.
Right. Yeah. It's pretty. It sucks. I can't. I just can't wait for the summertime. But I lived in Texas beforehand, and people know. It's the shit's like we don't have winter in Texas. It's like cold, and then it's like it goes from being freezing cold. It goes from being cold to oh yeah, now it's gonna be 110 degrees outside the next day. So shit's weird, man. But this is actually your idea to talk about these the shows and everything, and so I figured yeah, I think it's a good idea. So I guess the big one that's going around the news now is the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Um, what are your thoughts on that?
I like the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. The original is like really good. You have the dramatic family stuff with like all this humor, but this new one just is like this like shitty gritty filter.
Oh, it's like an indie,
Mm,
like sort of like somebody was like, "Oh, we're gonna make an indie Fresh Prince of Bel Air," you know?
Yeah, like a
Right,
woke. Well, I don't know if that's the word, but like politically trying.
right. And I think that's everything is trying to be political nowadays. You know, you try to check off boxes. It's like, oh yeah, we don't support this, this, and this, and that means we're good and we deserve awards and stuff like that. Martin Scorsese is not eligible to win an Academy Award anymore because he's not
Wow.
a director of color.
Oh.
Yeah, and he doesn't
Huh.
cast black leads in his movies and all this stuff. Like, cause you have a list of stuff you have to get nominated for Best Picture or whatever, right? And so I'm just like, yeah. So he won't be win an Academy Award ever again when he makes another movie. He has a another one, I believe, coming out this year or next year. Um, and so I'm just like, it's a shame. He should have won something for The Irishman, but it sucks it came out
Yeah.
on Netflix.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, what were you gonna say? What were you gonna say?
I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah,
That's kind
and
of
it's
messed
a
up.
shame that it is kind of messed up, or like Tarantino. Like there will be actors nominated, like they'll be like Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio, like they get like nominated every year for the role, but the directors won't win best director or best picture because it doesn't check off all the boxes, which is a
Hmm.
shame. The movie should just go off the merits that it should win. Like people like it. It's people vote for it, and that's how it should be. It shouldn't be like, well, you got to have a black lead, and there's got to be so many gay people in the movie, and you can't have this and that, whatever, you know. And I think with the new Fresh Prince of Bel Air, they're trying to take on the more serious issues, but the source material that it had was lighthearted and funny, and it was meant for families to enjoy and watch and stuff like that. The only people who are going to watch this are adults and SJWs. That's just my take on it. I mean, it's true.
It is.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think you were saying a minute ago, talk about All in the Family,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is one of the, which is like there was All in the Family and the Jeffersons. I don't know. Have you ever seen the
Mm-hmm.
Jeffersons?
Yeah.
Well, you watch the Jeffersons, and it's like they're talking about George Jefferson is he's a racist, and people are like, well, George Jefferson's black. Doesn't matter if George
Yeah.
Jefferson's black, he's a racist. Archie Bunker is a racist. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He's white. Oh, he's white. Of course he's racist. Well, no, they're kind of the same character, but just change the race. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's the same. It's the same show. Now the black people have the different issues. White people have different issues. But they're both entertaining. They're both lighthearted, dumb, stupid, funny. But if they did it now, it would be all like dark and serious, like they're doing with this new show. Um,
Kind
you
of
know, I
like
think they should bring
uh, what should they bring?
the what?
I don't know why my audio just cut out at the worst time. Uh, what were you saying that they should bring back?
Um, I was I was gonna say the Three's Company.
Yeah.
They should do Three's Company. But I guess if they want to get woke points, they would just have it would be, I don't know, two guys and one girl, or it's the
Yeah.
same thing, but I don't know. They can find a way to make it woke. But I think they should do that show because that was one of the old TV shows they had. That was one of my favorite ones to watch.
Yeah.
Um, Roseanne, they brought back Roseanne. Do you remember that?
Yeah. I saw that,
And
and
it was not good.
whew, it's terrible, honestly, because the acting just gets worse. Like they are not the same actors that they were like during Roseanne,
Right.
and
Well, yeah, the original. Yeah.
yeah, and then like so many different like social aspects work its way in, which is fun because the original Roseanne did that. But just the way that they attack it is like so one-sided that it's not like at all relatable, stuff like that.
Like, how do you mean? Like they were taking, like they were just, what was it?
Well, they tried to bring in like I remember they were talking about like Black Lives Matters and stuff, which is fine, but the way that they like handled it was just like pandering to every audience where they wouldn't get it like came at.
Right. Right.
It's the
And
tone is just
and it
like
just
completely dead.
it wouldn't be something they would have done if Black Lives Matter came out 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Then would have been something they would have done. You know what I mean? Try to please
Yeah.
everybody. They'd be like, "Oh, this is dumb. This is stupid. This is you know." And the thing is, Roseanne Barr, or Roseanne Arnold at the time, but
Hmm.
Roseanne Barr, she got kicked off her own show. Isn't that crazy? She got kicked off her own show. Because she made some comments.
Hmm.
They people like the Twitter world, uh, fucked their life up, man. And I think it's just dumb. Um, she she was kicked off her own show, and then she got ridiculed by everybody because they were trying to label her she's a racist or she's a Trump supporter or whatever. And you know, I don't know. I just think she was a comedian. They make jokes because that's what comedians do, and
Yeah.
she just made the jokes in the wrong era. You can't be funny anymore. So I mean, that would be like Sam Kinison. I
Yes.
I imagine you might be a Sam Kinison fan.
Hell yes.
Um, Sam Kinison, he would always talk about women in his stand up.
Mm-hmm.
Rewatching it recently, he'd always talk about women, which is kind of a dangerous thing to do nowadays because it's like, oh, you just talk about women, and then it's like, oh well, he'll be canceled because he said this and this and this about women. It's like, yeah, well, he's a comedian. He's lived through all the bullshit that he's had to deal with, and so you
Yeah.
sort of feel for him in a way. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
And
And he would just
especially like, sorry, I got sidetracked, but like the way that Sam Kinison brought in like popular things at the time, like the whole hamster deal. You remember that
yeah,
show? Like how that
right.
went
They'd be
on?
like, we'd be like, he's making fun of he's oh he hates gay people. No, that's weird. That's it's a weird thing, and it was just a weird phenomenon that was going on at the time. He was being topical, as they say, but Sam can look at it from both sides. Like he went from being a preacher, which is like that's like, oh, that's conservative lifestyle and all this stuff. He went from being a preacher to doing stand up where he's like screaming and talking about um I don't know, just being, wild. And so he can look at it from both sides because he has that wide view perspective. And I think that some people just like they're so narrow minded on the subject that they're like they just get offended on behalf. Like I can't tell you how many times um, you always see in the media it's like, well, or you see people like, oh, they'll be offended for you. It's like that I feel I don't want to offend you, or I'm offended because you said my friend did this, whatever. It's like, are they offended? It's like, no, I don't care. Then what's the big deal if they're not offended? Now they may
Yeah.
not like it, but they say they're not offended. They don't bothered by it. It's having a thick skin. It's being able to take criticism without being a big baby about it, And it's like it's it's the fact that he would be canceled nowadays for what he said back then, although he's right for a lot of the stuff that he said, even though it was funny and exaggerated a little bit, but he was right. But the same shit he would say, he couldn't do the same stand up he did 20 years ago that he could do now, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
Um, or yeah, but with the whole Archie Bunker Jeffersons thing, they would try to make it, but then completely ruin it by making Archie Bunker woke, which that is not
Yeah.
at all what he is,
Yeah.
you know. And they would just ruin it. They did something like that. The live show they did All in the Family live,
Hmm.
or do you remember that with Jamie Foxx, Woody
I
Harrelson?
th- I think so, but I don't know if
I don't
I've
remember
seen
what
it
it was
all with
called,
her.
but I don't. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. What's one show that what is a show that you would bring back though if you were to like to do a complete like if you were to do a complete reboot of it, like
Um,
what would you do though?
as a really huge Andy Kaufman fan, Taxi, bring the show Taxi back if you can even. But that would be something really cool to see done well.
There it is. Taxi. Like,
Yeah.
would you do it like a Seinfeld sort of thing, or would you do it like a live action, like it would be set in reality, like
Live action, definitely. Kind of one of those types.
like a sitcom?
Yeah. Basically
Okay,
what the original was, but with just more modern aspects to it.
right. Would you have a whole new cast, or would you be like, oh yeah, we're gonna bring Christopher Lloyd back, or we're gonna bring Judd Hirsch back and do all that?
Yeah,
I
that's
think,
the part. I really think they have to keep Danny DeVito.
yeah. I mean, Danny DeVito's sort of a meme nowadays,
Yeah, see, like you can have that aspect be one of the like humorous things about his character,
right? But
because
I don't think that
part,
should be the whole part of the show, though. I think
yeah,
that's where people mess up. It's
yeah,
like you have your main cast. That's your main cast. It's these new kids or whatever, right?
hmm,
And then you have, you know, what's his name? You'll have Danny DeVito come in, or you'll have. I mean, the bad thing is now all these actors are getting fucking old and dying off on
yeah,
us. So I mean, Andy Kaufman already died. Rest in peace. But you got all these actors are dying off, so it's like don't put them in the whole show, like every
Mhm.
episode, and then it's like, oh well, Danny DeVito came in for this episode and it was funny, and then he did this and this and that. It's just like sprinkle it out throughout the show, but keep the main focus on this new cast. And I think that's
Mhm.
what a lot of people they get mad with, like, oh, they just brought back the Ghostbusters, right? Did you watch the new Ghostbusters movie?
Yes.
And what was your thoughts about them bringing back the original cast?
Okay, so Bill Murray, I don't think is even on fucking Earth anymore. So, and then Dan Aykroyd, that's like the only good part is Dan Aykroyd always knows how to play Ray, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, he's been doing it
And
for 30 years.
yeah, and then Winston, honestly, the second one, was he even in it that much?
He wasn't in it that much, but
And then,
he
well,
he doesn't get a lot of light. Like you see him in the posters and everything. He's not even on hardly any of the posters,
yeah,
which is weird. But I think for the movie, I think what they're going to set up, if they do a sequel, which I plan on doing a video, um, I plan on doing a video later in the year about what they could do for a sequel to Ghostbusters. But what I think they're going to do, and they tease at the end of the movie, is I think they're going to bring back, they're going to open up that building, the original Ghostbusters building, and then they're
hmm
going to have, they're going to bring these kids from the country, and they're going to bring them into the city for something, or they're going to have Ernie Hudson. He's going to be the franchise. He's going to start the franchise in New York, and have their own set of Ghostbusters there in New York.
yeah,
And then, like what they should have done, they shouldn't have set the Ghostbusters, the 2016 Ghostbusters, in New York. They should have said, like, oh yeah, we're gonna set it in California, or we're gonna celebrate it. We're gonna set it in, I don't know, Vegas. That would actually be an interesting
yeah,
location. Let's set it in Vegas. Okay, they're in Vegas, right?
yeah,
You know, you got the mob,
yeah,
you got ghosts, you got shit like that, which is an interesting idea. Hold on, write that down. We're gonna make some money. Um, but you set it in Vegas, right? And then it's like you have the New York Ghostbusters, and then at the end of the movie, you don't have any of the old Ghostbusters show up in this movie. It stands on its own. You don't all that stuff, right? And
yeah,
then you get a call at the end of the movie, the post credit scene or whatever. Call. It's like, hey, we're gonna need your help. Who are you gonna call, right? And
yeah,
they call them, and then they have a sequel for the 2016 one, but they
hmm
set it in New York. They had the same premise, same bullshit, and just doubled down with the whole woke. I mean, also the writing in that movie is terrible.
hey.
Um, but they're just gonna double down on it. That.
So I want to see if you're just as mad as me with this. What do you think about the fucking ghost of Egon?
You don't like it? I thought it was a nice touch for the movie, like at the end, because she's struggling or whatever, and I think it's a nice touching scene where he's there to hold it up for her and everything. I don't know. I just thought it was sort of sweet. They couldn't bring back Harold Ramis, unfortunately,
Yeah,
for the role. They waited too late to do the movie because fucking Bill Murray. It's Bill Murray's fault, to be honest with you. They waited too late because he didn't want to do the movie, and Harold Ramis died, and then I think he felt bad. I'm glad they didn't dedicate the 2016 Ghostbusters to Harold Ramis
yeah,
because that would have been atrocious. So they dedicated for him for this movie, and I think that him bringing back Egon for one last movie, having him as a ghost and not saying he doesn't say anything, he's not stupid. It's a nice scene, and I think them because she never got to meet her grandfather, so I think it's nice that she got to see him in ghost form, but she got to meet him one last time before he goes away. I just think it's sort of touching. Anyway,
I just I have a hard time with like putting people in things that are after they're dead. Like
no, I don't think they should have brought Carrie Fisher back for the third. for the third Star Wars movie. The third Star Wars movie. The third of the new trilogy of Star Wars movies, the main
Yeah.
trilogy. They shouldn't have brought her back for the third movie because she had already died and everything in the second movie. They shouldn't have brought her back. I think she should have it should have ended with the 2017 one, and then they maybe flashback or something. But they shouldn't have brought her back. She's a main. She's still a sort of a. She was sort of a main character in the 2019 Star Wars movie.
Hmm.
She was still sort of a main character. So I don't think they should have done that. Peter Cushing for the Star Wars movie. I mean, I guess, but I don't think they should have brought. I think they should have just had an actor stand in, and then you see somebody talking, whatever, and then it pans up, and you just see the reflection of Peter Cushing's face. And with
Hmm.
modern technology, you can do that. That's pretty easy to put a just the still of like Peter Cushing's face moving in the
Yeah.
glass. It's pretty easy to do that now. So they shouldn't have brought back. They shouldn't have done. They shouldn't have. Sorry, my headphones talking to me. Um, they shouldn't have had a whole CGI character. I think it ruined it. The Uncanny Valley, especially at that time,
Yeah.
is not very good when it comes
Yeah.
to fully CG recreations of people's faces. And even in was it Rogue One?
Yeah.
I think Rogue One they brought back
Yeah.
young Carrie Fisher for that one, and the Uncanny Valley in that is pretty bad too.
Yeah.
I think they should have just like who is that guy? He's leading these people, right?
Hmm.
And then you see it, and then it's like, oh shit, that's fucking. Or did I say Snoke? Tarkin. I meant Tarkin. If I said Snoke,
Hmm.
for Tarkin, right? It's like holy
Yeah.
shit, that's fucking. And then it cuts, and then they shouldn't have had him in any other scene, but then they
Yeah.
overstayed the welcome by having him in the other scenes. Um, I don't mind it as long as it's a tribute. I mean, as long as they're doing it for as a tribute to the character and
Yeah.
not you know
Have you ever
like
watched the YouTube channel Red Letter Media?
yeah, but it's a lot of political stuff with them, and some of their views
Yeah.
are whack. They hate shit to hate shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the main part why I was bringing that up is because they did a commentary track on Rogue One when they were
Right?
talking about bringing back Grand Moff Tarkin. I forgot his name all of a sudden. But their views on that are like what I think, basically. But it's just where, he's been dead for how many years?
It's over 40 years, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe not
And
40 years. 20 or 30.
the only thing that he gets, well, is nothing because he's, dead. But like his family gets a fat check for like nothing.
Right? It's like,
I just,
you put my.
it's,
I mean,
yeah,
I think if they're gonna do that, I think if the money's not going to a family, if the money's not going to the family, like he doesn't say he didn't have any family, right? I think if they're gonna use his likeness, I think they should donate money to I don't know, a corporation. It's like, oh, we're gonna use his likeness. Like, well, he owns that. He has the look. That's him. That's his look, right?
yeah.
That's his. What do you call it? Visage. Is that the right word? I'm looking for somebody's
I
face.
think,
It's called their visage or whatever. But I think they should have said, "Hey, we're using his money. Since the family, we're gonna give. Since he doesn't have any living family, we're gonna donate the money that would have went to him being in the movie. We're gonna donate it to a children's hospital, or we're gonna do this or whatever." And companies like Disney doing that, I think
hmm
would make it better, but they don't. They're just like, "Oh, we're just gonna CGI it, put an actor in there." But they're reusing a dead person's face and putting it on somebody else's, like they did with Paul
yeah,
Walker. You know, I think since he has a living relatives, he has a living family. I think the money should have went to Paul Walker, his wife, and stuff like that. But you know, um, I think like Tim Curry. I don't think Tim Curry is married. He doesn't have
mm-mm,
any. he doesn't have any living relatives. So I think his money should go if they use his if they ever use his likeness. Like say they do a yeah, we're gonna remake fucking Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? Not the
Oh,
2016. They did that in 2016. They did it live. That's pretty bad. Oh, and rest in peace, Meatloaf too. He just passed away.
yes.
Yeah, I mean, just passed away. He passed away not too long ago. Um, but I think I think they should donate that money to like he had a stroke, right? I think
Mhm.
that's why he's in a wheelchair. So I
Mhm.
think they should donate that money to we're gonna donate his money to the Heart fucking foundation or whatever the fuck it's called, right? We're gonna donate that money to this foundation because Tim Curry, had to suffer through this illness, and I think that's something he would have wanted since he
Yeah.
has no living family, and I think that's a good thing. But these companies like Disney, they'll be like, "Oh, we'll just get an actor. We'll just get an actor. We're not gonna give." I don't know. Disney has their hand in a lot of pies, but donating money to other companies for unless it's like Black Lives Matter, what they did with Black Panther,
Mhm.
is they're not gonna do, unfortunately. But I I don't know. I like that they brought Egon back for one movie, and the fact. Did you like it? Like, did you think the movie was good as a whole? The new Ghostbusters.
I just kind of think leave the old stuff out of it and try to like focus on the new part instead of every scene being like, oh, remember that from the movie, the some of the tech that
Well,
they
I mean,
see or whatever.
that's they're discovering a a past they didn't even know existed. So, um, I mean, it would make sense that Egon would have the traps and stuff like that, and that he went, I say, went crazy, but that he would bring all this stuff with him, like he'd have the car and everything. I mean, actually, it would probably make more sense if Ray had the car, to be honest with you. But I guess they're there and it's in the garage and everything, and he finds it. I think it makes more. But I think it would make more sense for Ray to have the car in the movie.
Yeah.
Um, but I think them finding all the stuff, them finding the books, them finding the thing. I think it's nice touches because they're trying to uncover why is all this weird shit happening around us. We moved here to a family member we've never met, and now we're trying to uncover the pieces of the past that never we
Hmm.
never knew existed. And I look at it as people like, oh, it's too much. It's what do you call it? Fan service. It's like, yeah, it's fan service, but oh yeah, we're gonna make a Star Wars movie. We're gonna set it in Kansas, and we're gonna set it in Oklahoma, not Kansas. We're gonna set it in Oklahoma, and we're not gonna have any of the old Ghostbusters come back, and they're gonna wear um, black overalls with, and they're not gonna have the proton packs. They're gonna have guns. It's like, well, that's not Ghostbusters. Well, it's like, well, how they don't have the proton? Why is that in New York? Why don't they have that? So if they didn't have any of that stuff, they'll be pissed because it's like, well, this is not Ghostbusters or whatever. It's like, so yeah, you got to have some way to bring back the old stuff because
Yeah.
that little girl, she's smart, but she doesn't know how to make a proton pack.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, she's 12 years. She's actually 14 in real life, but that movie has been delayed and delayed. That actor McKenna Grace, she's supposed to be 12 in the movie, right?
Hmm.
Um, she doesn't know how to build a proton pack, so she's
Yeah.
got to find it and everything, and then she is mechanically she's smart and everything, and she knows shit, so she knows how to turn it on. It's like, how does she know how to turn it on? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like, um, I don't. I mean, I don't know. It's just one of those things. I just think people are like, well, they don't have any. If they should set in New York, well, how many of the other movies they've been set in New York? The last three Ghostbusters movies were in New York.
Hmm.
So if you set it there, it's just using the same stuff. They put it in a different location. They have a new cast, and the cast is great. I think the new cast of kids, I think
Hmm.
they're great. McKenna Grace is good. She was the standout of all the kid actors. She was the standout of I mean, in my belief. I didn't really care for Finn Wolfhard though. What did you think
Yeah.
about his character?
I don't know because like it seems like he is the actor that like Oh, he was in the retro show that's on Netflix. I can't. Stranger Things.
Stranger Things. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is other 80s, 90s things? Oh, it put him in that.
Right.
You know, it's like a typecast that's not very good at all.
Hey, you want to be in a? It is, I guess it's not very good, but I mean, he's in. I guess maybe he just has that look where he can look like retro. Like he was in a movie that mid 90s. The movie's called
Hmm.
mid 90s. I know that's kind of weird. A movie called mid 90s. So he's in a lot of older stuff. Like he was in Stranger. He got his big break on Stranger Things, and then he did It, which was a huge success and stuff. And now he's doing Ghostbusters. And but I just think his character. I think his character. They were advertising him a lot more because his actress, this girl actress, was more unknown.
Hmm.
But she's also much more likable than his character in the movie. His character in the movie is like he's a teenager. I mean, he's my age.
Hmm.
He's damn near 20 years old, which is crazy to think about. But he's a teenager, and doesn't want to move to this new town. He doesn't have any friends and everything. He's sort of insufferable. And then you have this little girl. She's smart. She's sort of standoffish, and she's unique, and she's quirky, but she's quiet. But this kid's like, he's just sort of an asshole. Okay. But with all right, so we're gonna wait for. Alrighty. Sorry, we had a little incident. That's Brandon. Um, he had to go, but yeah. Thank you. If you see this, thank you for coming on the show and everything. Um, yeah, just talking about the movies and the TV shows and stuff that remakes and with the new. With I think hold on, is this? Let me see. Oh, that looks weird. Don't look at my bed. Don't look at my bed. Yeah, this is my room. I'm in an RV. Um, but yes, thank you, Brandon, for coming on. Thank you, Brandon, for coming on the show and everything. And I do appreciate your input. Um, I really do like to talk about what we were talking about before. I do like the Ghostbusters movie, and I do think that with this new cast of kids and the way the direction they're going, if Jason Reitman can have control of the franchise, I think they can make a really good sequel to it. And I think with the talent on display, if they never even bring back the old Ghostbusters to put on the suits again, I think with this new cast, I think they can have a good film together. Um, but yeah, that was a short episode. I do appreciate y'all for coming on, and if anybody who sees this later, thank you for checking it out. Um, that's Brandon. That you saw in the video. That's his Twitter handle. So go check that out if you would like. Um, and follow all my links will be in the description below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.